Hello there, Wanderers! I hope you enjoyed the previous episode about Ëarendil and his voyage to Valinor that took place near the end of the First Age of Middle-earth. In this bonus episode, let's explore a major connection between Ëarendil in the First Age and Aragorn in the Third Age. That connection is the title Elessar, or Elfstone, that Aragorn adorns. Welcome! In the Lord of the Rings podcast, we wander the world of JRR Tolkien by exploring the foundational epic stories from the deep past of Middle-earth. If you enjoyed Tolkien's books, or maybe Peter Jackson's movies, or perhaps you're excited for Amazon Studios' new series, The Rings of Power, and you want to dive deeper into the rich world of Middle-earth, then listen and subscribe. Magovanyan, fellow wanderers. First, let's look at the origins of the title, then draw back to Ëarendil in the First Age. So, when the company is leaving Lothlorien in the Fellowship of the Ring, Galadriel gives Aragorn a gift and some words of wisdom. Quote, "In this hour, take the name that was foretold you, Elessar the Elfstone. The gift is, quote, a great stone of a clear green, set in a silver brooch, that was wrought in the likeness of an eagle with outspread wings. This green stone, which Galadriel gave to her daughter, who in turn gave to her daughter Arwen, who gave it to Aragorn via Galadriel, this stone is the Elessar or Elfstone. Galadriel says, quote, and now it comes to you as a token of hope." So in this event is the bequeathing of a precious green stone, given as a token of hope to Aragorn, along with the title. The title Elessar pops up in a couple of places in Peter Jackson's movies, like when Galadriel speaks with Aragorn in Lothlorien, as we just discussed, and if you listen closely, when Frodo offers the ring to Aragorn at the end of the Fellowship movie, you can hear the voice of the ring calling to Aragorn, even calling him Elessar. Aragorn does adopt the title, for in the Two Towers he introduces himself to the Riders of Rohan as, quote, I am Aragorn, son of Arathorn, and I am called Elessar the Elfstone. Elessar was key evidence that Aragorn was indeed King of Gondor. In the chapter called The Houses of Healing, in The Return of the King, we get several scenes of Aragorn healing Éowyn, Faramir, and Merry. One of the prophecies spoken is that, quote, the hands of the king are the hands of a healer, and so shall the rightful king be known. When Aragorn comes into the Houses of Healing, he says, quote, in the high tongue of old, I am Elessar the Elfstone, and he lifts from his chest a green stone. And remember Bilbo's verses that we looked at in Ëarendil's episode? Don't worry, I won't read more. But Bilbo says that Aragorn insisted that he include a reference to a green stone. Bilbo says, quote, he seemed to think it important, I don't know why. Well, you are about to know why. But to sum up, Aragorn is called Elessar, meaning Elfstone, which refers to a green gem. The gem itself is a token of hope and healing, and reveals the rightful king. We're not done yet. If you like this episode, please leave a review and share with your friends. And remember to subscribe if you haven't already. We'll be right back.
Do you ever find yourself thinking about who would win in a fight between Goku and Superman? Hi, I'm James Gavsey, and on the Who Would Win show, me and my co-host Ray ignore anything important happening in the outside world and debate fictional battles between characters from comics, movies, and video games.
We got a new show every week, and almost always am I the winner.
Yeah, not true, Ray.
In the past, we've discussed such matches as Captain America versus Darth Vader, Solid Snake versus the Iron Giant, classic matchups like RoboCop versus Terminator, and even the Muppets versus Sesame Street.
That one was crazy. So if you're a fan of geek culture and love a spirited debate, check out the Who Would Win show wherever you get your podcasts, or check us out at whowouldwinshow.com.
So let's dive into the origins of the Elessar. The following info comes from Christopher Tolkien's book called Unfinished Tales, which is a collection of manuscripts by JRR Tolkien that are unfinished. A link to purchase this book from Amazon is in the show notes. The Elessar or Elfstone was a gem that has its origins in the days of Gondolin. It was fashioned by a jewelsmith named Ëarendil. This elf was the greatest in the craft of jewel making since Fëanor, who created the Silmarils. In one version of the tale, Ëarendil is great friends with Celebrimbor, who would later go on to fashion the 3 rings of power for the elves and the 9 and 7 for men and dwarves. But that's a tale for another day. Just know that Celebrimbor was slightly overshadowed by the craftsmanship of Ëarendil. Ëarendil was inspired by the sunlight as seen through the leaves of trees, and he desired to create a jewel as green as leaves that could also house the actual light of the sun. An added bonus was that the jewel had healing capabilities, so that, quote, the hands of one who held it brought to all that they touched healing from hurt. Ëarendil gave the gem to Idril in Gondolin before its fall, and Idril wore it before passing it to her son, Ëarendil. And, quote, when Ëarendil began his great voyages upon the sea, he wore the Elessar upon his breast, and his first memory of Middle-earth was the green stone that his mother used to wear. After the fall of Gondolin, Ëarendil, with help of the stone, was able to heal many hurts and preserve the plant life around the refugees' new home. But as you know from the last episode, Ëarendil sailed into the west and did not return to Middle-earth. So what happened to the green Elfstone? Well, in true Tolkien fashion, he gives us two tales. It says, quote, "Though which is true, only those wise could say who are now gone." Cheeky, Professor. Real cheeky. So the first story goes like this. When Gandalf, who is a Maya, comes out of the west to Middle-earth, he brings the stone with him. Tolkien writes out a detailed practical joke that Gandalf plays on Galadriel, in which he refers to the Elfstone, knowing that he has it in his possession, and Galadriel laments that it is gone with Ëarendil. After some back and forth, Gandalf reveals the stone, quote, "And he held before her the Elessar, and she looked at it and wondered. And Olorin," that is Gandalf's Maya name, said, "This I bring to you from Yavanna. Use it as you may." Then he adds, quote, "One shall come who is to receive it, and his name shall be that of the stone. Elessar he shall be called." So I like this tale for a couple of reasons. First, it provides some insight into the teasing yet loving nature of Gandalf's and Galadriel's relationship. It also connects the stone with its healing properties and ability to preserve nature, as Galadriel will use the stone to do so until she is given her Ring of Power. Also, I love that in this tale, the green stone that Aragorn would later carry is actually the same gem that Ëarendil had. And like the Ring of Barahir, it's awesome when family heirlooms can carry over from the first age to the third age of Middle-earth. Okay, so the second story goes like this. Celebrimbor, again the elf that created the Rings of Power, has a major crush on Galadriel, even though she wed Celeborn. Galadriel laments that in Middle-earth all living things pass away, and trees lose their leaves, and that the Elfstone that Ëarendil wore is gone into the west. So Celebrimbor, like a slighted lover, decides he will create a beautiful gem like his friend Ëarendil had made in Gondolin long ago. And while this replacement Elfstone isn't quite as bright as the original, it still has some healing and preservation powers. Celebrimbor sets the stone, quote, "within a great brooch of silver, in the likeness of an eagle rising upon outspread wings," and gives his creation to Galadriel. While Galadriel wields the Elessar, quote, "all things grew fair around her." When she is given the Ring of Power, she passes the stone to her daughter Celebrian, who would later wed Elrond, and pass the stone to her daughter Arwen, who in turn would pass it to Aragorn. In this tale, we see the description of the setting for the stone, and its passage from Galadriel to Aragorn. So, which one of these is the actual true tale? I couldn't tell you. But I, for one, prefer the first explanation to the second. If you disagree, send me an email and we'll chat. So that is the origin of Aragorn's title, Elessar the Elfstone. And you know more than Bilbo. The title Elessar goes all the way back to the magic stone Ëarendil wore, a green stone which was a token of hope, healing, and the right to be king. My friends, if you enjoyed this episode, let me know by subscribing, leaving a review, and sharing with your friends. Follow me on Facebook or Instagram at Lore of the Rings Podcast. For feedback on the show, please email me using the link in the show notes. Until next Thursday, remember, not all those who wander are lost.